Welcome back to Verdict Watch. I'm your host, James, and today we're diving into a groundbreaking decision that is making global headlines. The International Court of Justice, the world's top court under the United Nations, has just issued a historic advisory opinion. The case is known as Vanuatu and Allied Nations versus the world's climate obligations. In simple words, the International Court of Justice has ruled that failing to protect our planet from climate change may actually be a violation of international law. This case began when Vanuatu, a small island nation in the Pacific already threatened by rising sea levels, called on the United Nations to seek guidance from the International Court of Justice. Backed by more than 130 countries, Vanuatu put forward a simple yet profound question. Do states have a legal duty under international law to safeguard the environment and protect future generations? In raising this challenge, the tiny island nation gave voice to a global concern whether the law can rise to meet the greatest crisis of our time. This was never just about one small island nation. It was about whether all country, big or small, rich or poor, must shoulder greater responsibility in the fight against climate change. For the first time in history, the world's highest court was called upon to decide a question that could reshape global climate obligations. Do nations have a binding duty to act? The International Court of Justice delivered a landmark ruling. It declared that nations carry a legal obligation to protect the environment, cut greenhouse gas emissions, and safeguard the rights of both present and future generations. Most strikingly, the court affirmed that the right to a healthy environment is not a privilege, it is a fundamental human right. The judges grounded their decision in several pillars of law: international human rights, environmental treaties, and even customary international law. They emphasized that failing to act on climate change is not only a breach of commitments such as the Paris Agreement, but also a violation of fundamental principles of human rights. For countries like Vanuatu, Tuvalu, and other low-lying islands, the verdict represents a historic victory. As rising seas endanger their very survival, the ruling provides them with stronger legal ground to hold major polluting states accountable. On the other hand, big emitters like the United States, China, and India now face greater international scrutiny. While this advisory opinion is not legally binding like a judgment, it carries massive moral and political weight. It opens the door for lawsuits and international claims for climate damages. One of the most striking impacts of this decision is that vulnerable nations may now actively pursue reparations. Countries grappling with severe droughts, devastating floods, and disappearing coastlines could bring forward stronger claims in international forums, arguing that wealthy polluting nations have a duty to compensate them for the harm caused. This opens the door not only to financial accountability, but also to a shift in how global justice is understood in the face of climate change. The International Court of Justice went a step further by directly linking climate obligations to fundamental human rights, including the right to life, health, food, and water. By doing so, the court established that the consequences of climate inaction extend far beyond poor governance or failed policy choices. Instead, neglecting to address climate change could now be interpreted as a violation of human rights law itself. This reframing shifts the debate from questions of policy preference to binding legal and moral responsibility, giving affected communities a much stronger position in demanding justice. Global reactions poured in almost instantly. Climate activists hailed the decision as a historic and long-awaited victory for justice. Vulnerable nations, often on the front lines of climate disasters, celebrated the recognition of their struggles and demands. On the other hand, some major industrialized countries responded cautiously, downplaying the opinion and warning that it could complicate ongoing climate negotiations. Yet, despite these mixed responses, the symbolic weight of this verdict cannot be underestimated. It represents a powerful shift in how the world views accountability for the climate crisis. So what's next? The opinion is advisory, but it will now shape negotiations at the United Nations, influence future climate treaties, and empower national courts to cite it in their own rulings. In short, the fight for climate justice just gained a powerful new legal weapon. This case shows us that the law is no longer silent on climate change. From the smallest island to the biggest power, every nation now carries a duty to act. This was Vanuatu versus global inaction, and the verdict is clear. Protecting the planet is not just a moral responsibility, it is a binding legal obligation. The message is undeniable. Our future depends on how seriously we uphold this duty. Thank you for watching Verdict Watch. Stay with us as we continue uncovering the world's most important court decisions, one verdict at a time. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the journey.